Welcome back to another episode of Strategic Angling. My name is Brady Hanna. This is JJ Patton, and this episode is brought to you by K&K Hardware in Bettendorf, Iowa. Nobody maybe asked for this video, but we wanted to start out the year by talking to you about boat trailers and how they can severely limit your fishing season if you don't take care of them the right way and get them prepped for the next year. So JJ and I have a very colorful history with trailers. We own Nitro boats, and I don't know if you'd be able to find a worse manufacturer of trailers out there.
Certainly not recently.
I hate to tank my Nitro sponsorship already, but the trailer situation is a little bit rough. So what are some things that people should be aware about that they need to be checking this time of year to prevent catastrophe in May when the fishing's awesome?
Well, I mean, the first thing is you want to make sure you look around, look for uneven tire wear, obviously check your tire pressure, but kind of look underneath, crawl underneath, make sure everything looks tight, make sure all the brake lines are hooked up, make sure that there's not any loose things going on. Sometimes the caliper between the reed springs will get a little bit worn. You should probably check that if you have a tandem axle trailer, that is. But yeah, you want to make sure your axle is straight, and usually you can kind of tell, you know, if like one of your tires is worn on the outside or one of them's worn differently than the other three, then that's, you know, usually a sign that there may be something wrong, and you should probably have either look at it or have somebody look at it. And we've gotten to troubleshoot a lot between us and some friends, and actually it's been beneficial in a way because now you kind of understand things a little better, I do, than I did before, which if there is a problem, then I maybe have a little bit more idea how to address that problem on the road if I'm up in BF Tennessee and get a flat tire or a blown hub or something that I know what to do.
Yeah, so you mentioned a good one middle of that talk, and that was tire wear. Tire wear is a first indicator that you have something gone wrong on your trailer. For me, I had very big time tire wear about a year ago, and that was due to me not checking the tire pressure throughout the year. So making sure all your tires have the same tire pressure before you go on a long road trip, or really before the season starts. It's good to check them every few months because if you have some inequality there, you're going to wear one side of that tire down and be more prone to an issue. Also checking and making sure you have a good spare tire is a positive, as well as do you have the equipment necessary to change a tire out on the road. I've heard a lot of guys, you know, broke down, have a spare tire, but maybe they didn't have a jack or they hadn't made a homemade, you know, drive up on it solution. There's nothing worse than trying to go on a trip you've been planning for a while and have trailer issues hamper that. Another good thing to do that I just did with Tim Himsel, has been on the show before, is you should jack one side of your trailer up and just spin your tire and see if there's any wobble to it, if you hear any noise, and that's basically checking the bearings. Bearings that love to go bad, and if you don't have pre-greased bearings, those need to be greased every year. The Nitro is a hair nice. They have the pre-greased one that are good for so many miles, but if you don't have that style, those need to be greased every off season, especially because if those get hot, they're prone to blow, and if those blow, then you are screwed. And
I would highly advise, even if it says you're good for 100,000 miles, I would still check the bearings and the bearing grease on your own to make sure, because there's been stories of people that it was not 100,000 miles. It was,
I had a
significantly less.
2020 trailer, and going down to Florida, or coming back from Florida in 2021, my trailer was darn near on fire because my bearing had blown through the Smoky Mountains, and they say they're good, but I hadn't checked, and the cap had come loose, and I paid the price of a overnight stay and a $500 roadside repair. So that was not fun. So I also carry a spare bearing. I think bearing kit assembly, we call it. It's not just the bearing. Dexter Axle or Dexter Trailer, I don't know what their company name is, but you should look up for your trailer and have at least one or two spare bearing kits on hand. They're like $100 and you know, with the use some YouTube help and maybe phoning a friend, you can probably figure out how to change that on your own. What else? You know, if your trailer is it's stupid to say, but if your trailer's making noise, unnatural noise, that means something is going wrong or something is touching something it's not supposed to. JJ and I have been dealing with nasty rattles forever.
Yeah.
And I recently figured mine out was my caliper was not bolted on any longer, and it was just in there rattling around. I drove with it for probably way too long, but I didn't get burned, luckily. But I'll flash a picture of my brake pad. The bolt had rattled out and busted the brake pad and almost destroyed my rim, and I was none the wiser driving down the road. I got lucky, but somebody else might not have been. So.
Yeah. Make sure your brake fluid's good. You know, the other thing is make sure everything's tight. Make sure all the bolts are tight up front, and make sure everything's working the way it should. If you have a swing away tongue or a retractable tongue, make sure that all that stuff, you know, keep it greased and oiled. And also on your boat, you know, your boat isn't used to traveling on ground, so make sure that everything is secured and tied down, and the bolts are tight, your power poles, you know. Make sure your battery, your main power to your battery is off, so your poles don't go down on the road, Brady.
Yeah, well, let's not point fingers. I might have done that. Yeah, battery off, poles on. Now we're getting into other stuff.
But yeah, but all part of traveling. When you go, you know, you don't want to go to Florida and find out you've been dragging a power pole for 100 miles or something, you know.
Honestly, hypothetically, the stretch between the Casey's and Port Byron and the subway is enough to damage power poles. Hypothetically.
Yeah.
What else? You know, it was an investment, but these stock trailer tires kind of, well, at least Nitro, come with pretty cheap tires. They're non-radial. I went and spent considerable money on some nice Goodyear radial tires, and it's helped a ton with road noise and ride. And I've already noticed there's zero wear on these, and I've already drove it to Florida twice on these. So
that's good.
And then the last one I would know about is these boats have electric. Some of them have electric brake involvement with your truck. So if you've got lights out or your connection's not good, you should be checking that and trying to fix that problem, because no big deal during the season, but if you're going somewhere long range and you lose that, you've got to do some manual stuff to override the brake system, and you really don't want to be messing with that.
Yeah.
So now's a good time to start thinking about, do all my lights work? Do my brakes work? Do everything working correctly light-wise?
Well, you don't want to get a ticket either, and they'll give you one if you're in the wrong place.
Yep. Well, this is kind of a random video, but I hope we dumped some good knowledge on you, especially if you're a newer boat owner. I have had so many things go wrong with the trailers as a newer boat owner over the last 5 years that I wish I'd have known about, and you've now been properly notified.
Yep. Good luck.
Anything else we need to tell them trailer-wise?
No, travel safe.
Yeah, tire iron might be good to have on hand. Something to get those lugs off.
Yeah, I mean, make sure you can go down to K&K and get everything you need there. You can get duct tape and lube and all wrenches, and I mean, you should have a good set of tools in your boat or truck. So when you're traveling, you have the stuff you need. Some electrical pliers and things like that, just in case there's a problem.
Yep.
It just never hurts to have a little box of stuff that you bring with you, and kind of has everything in it.
Tire patch kit. I've got one of those on the boat. I've had tire get a nail in it on a drive before.
Yep.
Simple little kit will save you a day.
Think of things that can go wrong, and they probably will if you're on a fishing road trip. So
yeah, especially if you're heading to a fishing road trip.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Strategic Angling. It was a little bit of an odd one, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch you guys in a future episode.
Thanks, guys.